Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. This is season 2, episode 9. Every time I always forget the numbers of the podcast, so hopefully I'm right with that one. So today I actually have a really special guest for you guys. This is my stepdad, Gabriel. And I actually have mentioned him in previous podcasts. So if you guys are wondering who this Gabriel person was that we have been talking about so much in previous podcasts or other people mentioning him, this is him. So this is Gabriel Prado. How are you today?
Hi everyone, I'm pretty good. And first of all, thank you very much, Lulu, for inviting me to participate for this podcast. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I'm very excited and looking forward to share my experience and my ideas with you and all of you guys.
Of course. I'm
Thank you.
glad to have you on. It's actually strange, guys. So, as I was saying in a previous podcast where I was talking to my friend from Brazil, I usually speak Portuguese with this friend and also with Gabriel as well. I also speak Portuguese. So, it's interesting having a conversation that's going to be in English. We'll see how it goes. I think it's going to go well. It's going to go just as how it normally goes, but it's just I find English is so monotone as a language. It's so like
Mhm.
robotic. So that's the problem I think that with like compared to Portuguese and stuff. So
Especially for me,
yeah.
so sometimes if I forgot the words, help me. Okay.
But Gabriel is actually going to come to Canada soon, so he needs to practice his
Yes.
English, so it's good. So it's good. We're going to be, talking about so many things. So while we now start getting into it, tell people like what you do and a little bit about yourself and all of that stuff.
Yeah, so it's hard to start, to talk about yourself, but well, I think I'm a human always searching, seeking for developments. It starts, and I love to dedicate my life, my time life, to things that make my heart beat more. And this is about art. So I started drawing very young as a passion in my life. Also with music too, and all the body arts that you can see, like always like a martial arts too, things that I started very early in my life. That now I'm an adult. I have 32 years now, Capricorn. So in this point of my life, all these things that I always dedicate my life is part of me as a person right now. So I dedicate my life to tattoo arts, no, as a tattoo arts, and since 17 years old when I start to work with tattoo, and I dedicate my life to a music projects, to like a creation of new beats or playing instruments or like a final production of the songs and playing like a performance around the Brazil and each part that the vibrations bring me to. And also, since the 4 years old, I started to do physical martial arts as a karate player. So I I also train in kickboxer, capoeira, jiu-jitsu, all over my life, and now dedicated to the comprehension of the body and mind as one with yoga. So I dedicate my life to share the knowledge of yoga and instruction practice to the persons who are seeking for some tool to find yourselves a little bit more. And I think this is a thing that connects everything. No, art is a way to us to feel about more ourselves, to find our expressions, and some type of way. I think this is all connected for me. That make a lot of sense to share my life with this arts. So a little bit of this is hard to describe, because
Mhm.
we always trying to find ourselves a little bit more, trying to know ourselves a little bit more. And I really think that is not capable to put a human being or a human personality in a box
Mhm.
and define it specifically. You are this, or I am
Exactly.
this.
Yeah.
We are always in this development, or not, but always changing our perspective, because it's about life, I think it is. But yeah, this is some or parts of me, I think, some parts of me that always was present in my life, keep changing the way that I related with this. In the beginning it was like drawings that I keep doing, but now paintings too, tattoos. So, and always keeping studying new forms to expression, new forms to do art, and always is the search bring more richness, to the all of the expressions that we try to do, improve our skills in any point of view too. So I love it. I love it.
Mhm. Well, really beautifully said.
Thank
Yeah, it's like it's hard because a lot of people too are still trying to be like, who am I? And like what do I do? And all of that stuff. And it's just like we do so many things as is. It's not just like our job that makes us us. It's not just like, oh, oh, I'm a singer and that's how I am, or I'm a doctor, and that's who I am. It's like we are so much more than just these things. And Gabriel is a very talented human being. That's why I wanted to have him on as well. He has like so many different
Thank you too.
different things. With, yeah, like as he was saying, he's like tattoo and then yoga and then martial arts and all of these stuff and music and DJing and all of that. So it's like, we relate in that way. Because Gabriel and I, both of us, we have like so many things that we do.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yes,
actually,
yes.
a lot of people too that came on the podcast and stuff and that know you or know of you, were also saying that they're like, oh, I'm so excited to get a tattoo from Gabriel. So like everybody's hearing in the podcast, like, who the hell is this Gabriel guy? So yeah, let's get
That's
into.
amazing.
Mhm.
That's amazing to hear. I'm very, I feel a lot of good things when I
That's
heard
good,
about
yeah.
my job like this. It's so nice, so
Mhm.
nice to hear, so
Mhm.
nice. And I am the same. How can I say, enthusiastic? The
Yes,
same
yes.
the same feeling to create some new ideas of tattoos. I love to mix the styles, because each person deserves something unique, and
Mhm.
all of these things that inspire me, I mix everything, dive into this creative world, of the imagination, to bring something very specifically. And I think this reflects positive in the way that the arts express themselves in the skin. I see the tattoo process as a like an ancient ritual. It's
Mm,
not a
mhm.
no, it's more aesthetic. It's something that we are, and also things that has a beautiful design, of course. Fits nice on the human body, in the natural flow of the anatomy. But during the process, I think we passing through different, thoughts, emotions, feelings, to deal with the pain, the anxious too. So at the end, we passing through a therapeutic process, as I can say,
Mhm.
and bring it to us a different perspective. I think this is about what the rituals are for me.
Mhm.
Something that we're passing through and bring to us a different perspective more about yourselves, in this process. So it's very beautiful. It's very beautiful, funny, emotional to see
Mm-hmm.
and I take this with very seriously about all the details of my work. So it's very important to hear these type of feedbacks too,
Yeah.
because bring you more motivations always, always.
I have
Okay, let's keep it doing.
yeah, I have never heard anybody say anything bad about Gabriel's tattoo. Never, ever, ever. I had like it's always just like good things. Good. So that's a great sign as is like as an artist. But one thing that I think that Gabriel particularly kind of takes his time with, and that a lot of tattoo artists sometimes don't, is making sure, yeah, like the tattoo as well like flows good. So he lets you know, okay, the tattoo is gonna look good here. It might not look as good on this area. It might look better and more visible or flow better if it was on the leg instead of the arm and stuff like that. As for some artists, I find they just like it's kind of like whatever. Like they still they have the passion for the tattoo and so like that, but they're just like they don't have that kind of the same notion to be like, okay, maybe the arm wouldn't be such a good idea, or maybe we could switch this to make it seem better on the arm, kind of thing like that. And yeah, I think that he kind of takes really like he takes his clients and the work that's going to be on their body forever into
That's the point.
consideration. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like
That is the point.
it's like make something that in also in the future too, like that they won't feel the need to cover up.
Yes, yes.
Like obviously some things happen where we grow out of the stuff that we tattooed, like when we were younger, something like that tattoo, I don't know, some sort of symbol or some drawing, and later on we don't like it as much, or we say and that does happen. But I think that Gabriel does a really good job with that, with making sure that the tattoo is like, something that they want one.
Yes, that you're totally right, Lila. That is something very important to me because I'm a specialist to do cover ups too.
Mhm.
So I see lots of you know ideas that persons doesn't know how to express or something that they regretted to do. So I don't want to bring it, to a person with my work. Never. So
Yeah.
I think a lot, and it is a process. The create something, some new art to the body is a process. To see the idea and see how this idea is gonna fit in the anatomy. And it's beautiful too. We don't need to rush. You just need to be right about what you're gonna do.
Mhm.
That's the point. And
Yeah.
time is art. You don't know something that you have a symphony and flows naturally.
Mhm.
But some ideas you have to say, okay, I think you can think
Yeah.
about a little bit more for this to
Yeah, and
see.
yeah, that's the thing though. It's just like I think yeah, it's very important to have like a tattoo artist who can communicate those things, who are not afraid to communicate those things too, to be like,
Yes,
but also like in a form where it's not like like sounding like bad. It doesn't sound preachy to
mhm.
the person. It sounds just like a positive feedback.
Of
Right?
course.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the people want to express an idea, but they don't know how.
Mhm.
They don't know how, and that is not their obligations. It's obligation of the professional.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
professional has to know, has to guide the person.
Mhm.
So I always think to do it gently because the person is trusting on me. So how just to be gentle and retribute this trust into doing my best. That's
Mhm.
my point.
Yes.
I hear a lot about this. That tattoos doesn't care about the ideas or don't treat the client so good or no very tough. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think this is necessary. If can communicate it clear, gently, we can get to a nice and great point, create
Mm-hmm.
some art.
So in regards to those things of like caring and all that, there's also something that we talked about as well, kind of like the spirituality with tattoo that comes with
Mhm.
it. That I find a lot some people, well, everyone goes through it, but not everyone knows that they are going through it. You know?
Yes,
So
yes.
like when you're at when you're in the chair and it's happening, you know, it's an experience. But I even remember when I was getting the tattoo from you, and it was like a meditation too, because you have to like breathe all the time. You breathe. And that's a thing that a lot of people are like always like screaming or yelling or going crazy, or some people go into tattoo shops drunk, and you know, and they don't realize that they're like going through an initiation. You know, process. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna get a tattoo. But they don't know that's like,
Yes.
oh, they're gonna get a tattoo. It's almost like when you go into like an ayahuasca ceremony,
Yeah.
and you take it and you're like, I'm just gonna take this and I'm gonna better myself, and then suddenly traumas, everything over here, all of a sudden.
And when you see that you are there, you don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
Don't know how to deal, especially with pain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something psychological. Sometimes you get freaked, but okay. But when you're feeling pain, then you see how you are dealing with, your aspects of life, and show a lot of yourself doing this. If you're resilient or if you freak out, you know. But we don't know. Sometimes we don't know that we're gonna passing through it. So for me, again, it's important to the professional guide the clients during this process too.
Mm-hmm.
You say that the person is gonna feel different levels of pain. Okay, the pain is I think is the most fear of the persons about tattoos to get a tattoo. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I want this tattoo, but it's gonna pain. I'm gonna feel pain, and we start to get anxious about it, and lots of thoughts, and we
Mm-hmm.
create a big elephant about around it,
Mm-hmm.
but when you are on it, sometimes it's okay. You say, "Oh, okay, is not like I think it was pretty much worse than
Mm-hmm.
this. Good." But sometimes the person start to freak out. Oh my god, I cannot handle this.
Mm-hmm.
And is a way to guide through it. Learning yoga too was a great tool to deal with this.
Yes.
To me, of course, doing my work, being fully attention, being in totally, great state of myself to bring it to my art, to my work. But I know some tips to guide the clients during
Mm-hmm.
the process, to deal with the process. We have different tools to deal with the stress, deal with the anxious, just through the breath,
Mm-hmm.
in a comfortable position.
Mm-hmm.
So it's bringing important tools to me too. But this spirituality meaning to the person, is very personal. I think.
Yes.
Sometimes you just want to have something beautiful in your body. It's totally nice too.
Mm-hmm.
But you are passing through a journey or experience to get this. That is that is right for me, very right.
Yeah. As Andrew calls it, tattoo therapy. He's
Tattoo therapy.
he's always like, I need some tattoo therapy.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
feeling like I need some.
I miss sometimes, and I stay a long time without tattooing. I miss that too. I miss
Yeah,
that too. And
yeah.
this is amazing because it's not the therapy is not to just passing through this journey of deal with the pain, the feelings. At the end of it, when the pains no stop, and you take a look at yourself with the art that represents more about what you think or bring more, you identify yourself a little bit more. You feel like your temple now is now decorated about more about you,
Mhm.
and it makes a sense that we are now in a different position in your society too. We are more ourselves in that position.
Mhm.
So this therapy, I think, is doesn't have nothing equal.
Oh yes,
Right, right.
definitely.
It's
How
nice. It's so nice.
how many years have you been doing tattoo now?
Now is 15 years. 15 years.
15 years.
Yes, yes. I started
That's
around
crazy.
2008 at 17 years old.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's
Wow, that's
crazy. But
yeah.
his
It
journey
is,
never
yeah.
ends. This journey never ends.
What do you think has been um the hardest thing to learn in tattoo?
Wow. Nice question. Really nice question. One thing that I think is very important and is hard to get this point of view, but I was privileged because before start tattoo, I stood about the human pathologies, in the healthy way of studying of science. So I learned a lot about the biosecurity, how to create a space, very clean to work in this type of surgeries process too, and all the things that impacts our organism. So I bring all of that knowledge to my work, and this is very important. I think is one of the most difficult parts because we are dealing with the heal, the health of the person, health, right?
Mhm.
So that is the most important thing: the health security of yourself and of the persons too. And after this, I think to get a nice lines because I nowadays I can look and see that my first 5 years was struggling with the tool, with the machine, with the needle. I was guided to like a teacher and a master for me, a great friend called Leandro Costa, very great friend. I was guided through and teaching by him. But is your way to understand the tool to express what you are, having the inspiration for, what you want to express, what you want to create is something that for me 5 years was struggling to understand all of this: the ink, the needles, the
Mhm.
machine, the voltage, in the power supply. So when I figured it out, all of this to what I want to express, so I started to get more solid in my work. And one point of this is because I love to mix different styles in my work too.
Mhm.
So I have to learn different ways to work with the machine, the needles, the inks to get the final results from each one of these styles. And after that, I can mix everything to see
Mm.
how it is, how it
Mhm.
goes. You understand?
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. It's definitely it's like a it's all you're always learning too. You know, it's like it's
Yes,
never
yes.
something that like you just stop. Just like anything, right? It's like we're like, okay, I'm a psychologist now. That's it. You know, it's like no, it's like you're always learning new things, new strategies, new tools that come out, you know? You know, it's like
Yes,
who knows in the future there might be another way to make it. And you're like, "Oh my god, now I have to learn how to do this."
yes. Always, always. I love this. I
Yeah.
love this. And with a tattoo, this is so amazing because it's so ancient. These
Mhm.
practices, this art type of art, and nowadays with technology, you have so many different ways to do. Each art creates your way to do it. It's like a thing like that because each hand is different. So
Mhm.
it's always in development, always new things to see, new styles of art to see. So why we stop on that? No,
Mhm.
doesn't make sense for me. Keeping movement always.
Yeah, in the so I was actually talking to one of my other Brazilian friends and talking about kind of like growing up in Brazil and stuff like that. And we were talking about how also things come later in Brazil. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
so like just like how we talked with mom as well, how we're like, oh, keto in Canada started and then keto in Brazil later on comes and stuff like that. Like how let's talk a little bit more about kind of like you growing up in Brazil and you know, learning all of these things from like martial arts and then art, all of that. And then getting into the subjects of like your personal opinion on dealing with the slow changes of Brazil and things that you have maybe learned from that as well.
Oh, that is so deep, deep. I think no, because first of all, as we born in a place, we all the things became like natural for you. You know,
Mhm.
it's a part of your culture, it's a part of your environment, your
Mhm.
family. So you learn all these things. You learn that you create that reality. That's okay. That's it. You know. But
Mhm.
as we are growing, we start to seeking for our own answers. You know, or our own point of view of the world and traveling and you see how heavy can be the reality here. You know,
Mm.
it's a beautiful, is a dilemma, a paradoxal point of view. I think because we are so rich here in Brazil with our nature, our culture too, the heart of the people. You know, that is so beautiful to see, and we have difficulties too. Difficulties improving the economic system, you know, all of these biggest industries that came through colonization process and everything. I think this sometimes can create some, some revolution point of view too to ourselves here, you know, to deal with all of this. And for me, rock and roll is a tool to deal with that too. But I always try to see the good parts of all of this crazy reality that we have here. So I always seeking for see the good, the gold in everything, you know, because it's my reality. So I try to change the orders and the reality, the economic system can be very heavy to deal with this position, I think. So I always try to see the good things around and try to transform what I want to see the change outside, inside myself, you know? start with the man in the mirror like this. So, but bring it. I think when I meet persons in the other side or the parts of the world too, I see that is very very different. This different point of view. You know, there are different behaviors, different cultures. As a Brazilian, I just can say that we are very rich, we are very beautiful people,
Mm-hmm.
and we are very strong too. Don't try to to be ourselves. We are very strong, very strong. Like nobody cannot stop what
Mm-hmm.
Brazilian wants to do. The way that we do humor, I think nobody do it around the world too. And
Yeah,
I
that's
love.
I always say with um you either growing up in Brazilian environment with the humor, and like it's kind of like people think that in Canada like certain things are, tough. When you're in
Yeah.
Brazil and you have all of these heavy jokes and things, you either come out being the most confident person in the world, or
That's the point.
or
That's
you
the
have
first.
some sort of trauma or self-esteem issues. And it's like one or the other, you know. But yeah, I
that's
think
it. That's the paradoxal whole thing in here. You can be very the reality here is very tough. I think it's
Mhm.
very tough, very tough. What you see doesn't matter in what point of the Brazil you are. You can see a very tough reality around.
Mhm.
And but that's the point. How we can do to change it. I don't. We don't know. We don't know. And sometimes don't know this answer. We can be fragile about it, or we can be more strong. You know, mentally strong to deal with this. Physical strong to deal with the weather here, to deal with the daily work journey too. Is very hard, very tough.
Mhm.
But everywhere has no bad things happening. That's
Yeah.
the point for me.
Yeah, exactly.
Everywhere, everywhere. We deal with different things. We cannot say, okay, now here we're suffering a lot because we are the victims of the system. No, it's not about it. No,
Exactly.
we have our reality too. We suffer all these things too, but it doesn't mean that we are victims for it. We can be strong to deal and win in life in all of this, savage Babylon. We
Yeah.
see so much brilliant Brazilians around the world, referencing every types of work of art too. And to get there, of course, was very hard to passing through all this reality, I think. And we have different realities too. I can only talk about myself, because it's what I understand as reality. But I have some points of view here that I don't have an idea, for bad and for good too.
Mhm. Yeah,
A
I
crazy
mean,
place.
definitely. Yeah, it's like Brazil is very beautiful. A lot of, some people have a I think like even with the media a lot too. It's kind of hard to say because like a lot of people if they if you go on the news at all or on Google, you can find so many bad things about everywhere. You can say like, "Oh,
Mhm.
Brazil has all these problems and all this poverty and all of these, crimes." But then you go to Brazil and then you don't see that too. Like you see like beautiful parts as well. Like you see there's problems too, of course, but you also see the beautiful parts. Same with anywhere in any country, like even with Canada, like you go on the news, all you see is bad things about it. All you see is robbing and stabbing and all of these things. But then you go there and it has its beautiful parts too. So it's like, it's very like those, contradicting things. But I do think
That's
that yeah, with countries and stuff, it's like every culture country has its own like uh strengths and weaknesses for
mhm.
sure. Mhm.
Got my point.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you said about like martial arts and stuff like that. Like how was your fitness journey? Let's get into kind of like, going your whole life, your fitness journey from martial arts to slowly eventually going into like spirituality and yoga and all of that stuff.
Mhm.
Let's get
Amazing.
into
I started 4 years old. At 4 years old, doing karate,
mm.
and I keep doing for like a like a 10 years doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped a little bit and back, and during this time, I practiced 2 years of jiu-jitsu,
Mm-hmm.
1 year of judo, 1 year of so just 6 months of taekwondo too, and I stopped with the karate and start capoeira. I
Mm-hmm.
did capoeira for 3 years, and after the capoeira, I start kickboxing, Muay Thai, and I training, I fight, and started to go to like a push it like
Yeah.
gym
Yeah.
in 12 years old in my home with my father. They have some tools,
Weights and
some
stuff,
machines
yeah.
and weights. Yes, that's was something that I always trying to bringing present in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Always keeping movement. I love it. I love it. I play different sports too, like basketball, handball, volleyball in my school during during in my high school. I think high school
Mm-hmm.
during the high school. I think. And 16 years, I started to go to the gym practically to really get to the gym. And but when I start to tattoo, like close to 19 years old, I stopped doing these things. And my because I started other things in life, you dedicated time to
Mm-hmm.
work and painting and music and everything goes like this, in this age. And I get away from this practice of exercises of martial arts. And after 2 years, I think I see, okay, my body starts to know, feeling like a decline, all of my energy
Mm-hmm.
goes out, and I became like a mad, sad, like type of depression to start to growing fat on the body. They say, "Oh my God, I cannot do this anymore." The spirituality has always been part of my life too.
Mm-hmm.
Since the 15 years old, I no since the beginning, I always came to church. My family get to Allan Kardec sessions too with my mom. So I always keep on touch on this subject in the
Mm-hmm.
life. But 15 years old, probably 15, 16 years old, I get my own way. I start doing my research about this, how I connect with this, how I understand this creative energy of everything. how is my point of view about all this? Because sometimes I I don't have the answers, you know. So okay, I try to search for by myself, and I find the Buddhism on it that makes me bring me a lot of sense, like in the philosophy, in lots of long years of studying Buddhism, mantras too, meditation types with groups, reading books, practicing by myself in home. I never get to a temple to do it, just once. So when I started to feeling my body like this, going out, when I stopped all my activities, I said, okay, I had to do something by myself again. Just not to read something. I had to do something to my body. So I start to push up the world, doing push-ups on my home, my house, and bring back the meditation studies and practice. But is something that is just to don't fall,
Mm-hmm.
so that I just say, okay, I have to grab myself from that to don't fall. But when I moved to Floripa, and I start a new movement in my life. I start to run in the beach in the morning. I start to do more physical exercises by myself, and I met Lu. So
Mm-hmm.
Lu bring this powerful yoga practice that like put everything on the side on the place again. For me, because I always like these powerful practices with the body, with
Mm-hmm.
the martial arts, like doing skate and all these things. So dancing, but yoga, was the piece
Yeah.
that now make me more feeling more complete of my activities in the life,
Mm-hmm.
and the big and nice reflections in different points of my constitution as a human being, my body, the way my mind works, the way that I feel my energy to keep moving forward. It's nice. You already know this too.
Yeah.
You already know this.
I wonder what people see when they look at you. Like I wonder like cuz like I was like examining and I was just like I started like thinking and I was just like I wonder like for the person outside that like doesn't know you, like
Hmm.
what they think you do for a living too. And then I was thinking of like the stories how my mom said like people think you're like actor or that you play some sports or something like that.
Yeah, yes.
And
That's
I,
funny. That's funny. I
and
laugh a lot when it happens.
for those of you guys who don't know, like well, Gabriel and his personality from us that know Gabriel, like Gabriel's a really like funny guy, and when he has like close friends and stuff like that, you can really see another side of Gabriel. But the professionalism from the surface is very much there, very much present. Like in his videos, the way he talks, everything is more. You have more like of the professional vibe. But then the people that really know you get to see the warm side, the funny side, and all of that stuff too. So it's interesting too because even I find that even with myself as well, like when I am interviewing or stuff like that, sometimes I can be a little too serious at some moments. And then
Hmm.
but I catch myself being serious and I'm like, why am I being serious? you know, like why am I need to like loosen up kind of thing. But yeah, with close family and friends, it's easier to be, like that. more bubbly, more happy-go-lucky,
I'm a shy man. I'm a
Yeah,
shy man.
yeah. But not shy once you know him.
Yes, something like this.
uh,
It's
s-
something like this. That's nice. It's a
so
process, to release. Okay,
exactly.
and always when I treat with person that I don't know, I try to just be clear, and
Mm-mm.
something. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that I'm tough. I'm not. I
Yeah,
don't think I'm
yeah.
tough for the person. I just
Yeah,
clear, okay, doing my work too. So I think is important too. But then
exactly.
there's this because everybody's so sharing, so different
Mhm.
things. I always try to be the best as I can, perfectionist,
Capricorns.
everything. Yeah, yeah. But when I release it, it's okay. It's not very, very soft.
Mm. So we talked about like kind of like the fitness journey and spirituality and all of that stuff. But was there a moment in your life that you struggled with self-love? Like as a man as well. Even in
Mm,
Brazil, from even what I hear as well, it's difficult to be more emotional man because it's like in Brazil it has like this structure of like being hard and being like a man kind of thing, like the society version of what a
mm.
man should be like, not having feelings and emotions, putting that aside. So is there a moment or something in your life that you learned or struggled with in regards to self-love?
Oh yes, yes, of course. I think you're like 16 years old till sometimes nowadays we deal with different layers of it.
Mhm.
We're always dealing with
Exactly.
this, but it's something that I try to exercise a lot too.
Mhm.
Because why you are struggling with this? We are just
Mhm.
we are here to be,
Yes.
just so. But sometimes we try to fit in some parts of our society relationships, something that we think is nice and we want to be like this. I
Mhm.
struggle with my hair since I start to see, okay, my hair, that's not what I want.
Yeah.
Imagine this. I struggle a lot with this, a lot,
Interesting. Interesting.
until my 16 years, I think, that I make dreadlocks and I say, okay, that's me. That's me. I try to get my head straight. I don't look at it and say, okay, I don't want this.
Mm.
But when I did dreadlocks, I say, okay, now my hair will grow as it is. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. And I stay with dreadlocks for 13 years.
Mm.
13 years. Now I completely fine with my look
Mhm.
because I cannot change it. I just put in surgical plastic surgicals in all my body, change it, the
Exactly.
nature how it is. At least, of course, for me, at least, of course, is a need to our health. Is important, and the way that we look at ourselves is important too. So sometimes we just agree to do it, no problem. But I think we suffer a lot about it.
Mm. Mhm.
To fit in different categories that the society wants to say, okay, this is a pattern to be a man, this is a pattern to be a woman. Women, of course, suffer a lot with this, and I just trying to not judging myself about it.
Mm.
I have
Mhm.
lots of things to judge myself in my work, in the things that I want to do. I spend my mental energy on that.
Mhm.
But I always trying to feel nice with myself.
Mhm.
I always trying to be the best as I can to see myself, good, see myself good. But I deal with bullying since I started in the school. I deal with
Mm.
bullying in my family.
Yeah.
So if you don't know how to deal with this and get depressed, I'm sorry, you cannot grow in Brazil.
Yeah.
In nineties. Today is totally different.
Yeah.
Our culture now get more refined. I think about these subjects,
Mm-hmm.
but still happen, and I think we have to learn how to deal. We don't judge ourselves and put ourselves down every day that you look at the mirror. You have to feel good when you look at the mirror to be yourself, to
Yes.
be here to and to trying to be your best.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm expand this reflection on it, because I think all the society always bringing new patterns, always
Yeah.
bringing new this new t-shirt,
Yeah.
this
New
new
trends.
shoe, new trends,
Yeah.
this new shoe that you have to use to be on the
Yeah.
hype. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I don't like at all.
Yeah.
I think the most hype of my life is to be myself and use things that I like because reflect something that I like. It's not
Mm-hmm.
because I get to achieve this, but it's my point of view. Everybody choose choose to do what
Yeah.
what's good for themselves.
Exactly. Mm. Do you think music is something that actually helped in regards to dealing with mental health?
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Of course, yes. I cannot imagine a world without music. No, I cannot. I cannot. And the music for me is I create psytrance music is something that works a very abstract way to
Mm-hmm.
psychedelic way. So is a tool to express myself some things that words or maybe dance cannot express.
Mm-hmm.
I can manipulate the frequencies and create this environment that is too much about me, that is explained, no, cannot be explained. Just the experience of the
Mm-hmm.
music. That's my relation with to create some of these musics too. Something beyond the words, beyond something that I can write, beyond something that I can just show with my just pointing.
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh. Did
of course,
you
to deal with this, sorry,
Yeah,
sorry
yeah,
to
go,
cut
go,
you.
go ahead.
To deal with this process that you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
music and dance is the most powerful tools, in my opinion.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine a world without music. Like, imagine if it didn't exist. Like, imagine being like in a dinner table, no music. Go to a party, no music. You're
What
cooking.
party? Which party? Which
You're
what
cooking in
is
the
party
kitchen.
without music?
It's like it would be so. Actually, that would be a great movie idea.
Yes, yes,
Imagine that.
nice.
Like, that would be such a great movie idea. Like where like they go to an alternate reality or something and there's like no music. It's like yeah,
Yeah,
nothing.
a short movie, a
A
word
short
without the
one.
music.
Yeah. So what's the omeletto has to get that.
Yeah.
In case you guys are wondering what that is, it's a YouTube channel that I found a couple of years ago, and they have short movies and stuff. It's like a bunch of people that make short movies, and it's great. It's like if you want to watch a bunch of movies in an hour, you can watch like I don't know 20 in an hour because it's like all short, like they're like 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 15 minutes, stuff like that. But yeah,
Mhm.
that's definitely something that they would create for sure. Great ideas. Now we're
I
gonna
can make a
see.
soundtrack for
Yeah, yeah.
it.
That's so funny. With the music, your first instrument was guitar?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And then so like how old were you when you first started learning music?
Uh, First time I got to guitar for was 12, 11 to 12 years old. Assim,
Mhm.
learning with my cousin. My
Mm.
cousin is a classical guitar professor, teacher, you know. So he teach me my first songs, Legião Urbana,
Yeah. Mhm.
Tribalistas, some very popular musicians here, bands in Brazil. And I get crazy with this, get crazy because I love music since the beginning of my life, watching all of these Walt Disney movies. And I have my old guitar of my grandpa. It's very when I have it 4 years old, 5 years old, I discovered this, just two strings and broken on the back,
Yeah.
and I get to passing the day, point, point, point. And after that, I start to take some, Timon e Pumba songs ali on there. Since this, okay, like 10, 11 to 12 years old, I pass my weekend, my vacations in my cousin's house, and my old cousin that is classical guitar teacher teach us
Mhm.
the very basic, very simple music to just stop to bother the okay, try it, da, 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 da. Okay, but we get very very into it.
Mhm.
And all weekend that I get to my other cousin's house, I say, okay, teach me one more, teach me one more.
Yeah.
Now, how I use my finger, how I can change it. I keep studying. And in 16 years old, 16 years old, I start to school to study classical guitar.
Oh,
No,
nice, nice.
yes, in Villa Lobos, a great school here in Rio de Janeiro. But I play electric guitar on this time too in my rock band, metalcore, new metal style. So very. I love the heavy riffs of the guitar. I love.
And then with
And
yeah, go ahead.
uh, keep going.
With the so later on when you started, when was it that you ended up getting into like EDM and producing music in that process?
So was like a 17, 18 years old, close to 18 years old. My sister, Marcella,
Mhm.
just is my uh, she's 5 years more. Oh, help me with the word. Mais nova,
Oh, younger.
younger than me. So
Yeah.
thank you. So she showed me, okay, this is some music. It's like summer hit, something like that. And I heard it, and my phone's okay. Oh, vibe different. And close to my 18th birthday, one friend of mine say, okay, you have to go on these parties, just electronic music, close to the nature, everybody is is your style, you're gonna love it, Gabriel. Come, come, come. Okay, we reuned lots of friends and got to this party. And when I there, well, first of all, not different. Okay, I search for some musics during the week, preparing me to what I see on the weekend. And when we arrive there, I see, okay, at the morning, when I look around and I see different styles of people, different people in different social economic situations. I don't know, different styles of music, like a rock, like a punk, like a reggae. Everybody dancing together.
Mhm.
No, and look at it and I see, oh my God, that's so universal. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's abstract. Don't have just a few words here and there, but the passion of the music involves everybody.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? What is this?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first moment I think that I realized, okay, what is this? I want to know more about it. And the second party that I went, I like enter in the journey inside myself with the music and discover these textures, this lead, the rhythm. And there I say, okay, this is so infinite. I think my expression now is here because the rock and roll movement in my country, in my region, start to change. It's very heavy at certain point, and now the people are more emo core.
Mm-hmm.
It's different style. It's not the style that I was into in that age. So I start to feel different with this relation, and the band start to change the style too. So okay, now I have to move, but I don't know where. And when I met EDM, like a trance music, I say, okay, that word I have to understand a little bit more. And I think in here is my expression. So I start
Mm-hmm.
to study to since the beginning, as a DJ, I start to the mathematics on the how it works, and start to play as a DJ to understand more the patterns and how to create the song. I
Mm-hmm.
Since the beginning, as I start to play as a DJ, was to part of the process of the studio to produce this music. And I start very slowly to produce this, to understand the platforms, the downs, right? To understand the different effects, different approach of the music styles, everything. And in 2003, I got in a new project that's called Devata with my friends, lots of my friends of Rio de Janeiro too. And there I started as a bass player, that is start by bass to the bass too. I love the heavy sounds, the
Mm-hmm.
groovy, it's part of me. And with this project, we go deep into the production together too. Everybody, different points of view. We start to produce together a lot, a lot, a lot. It's like a lab of frequencies, and we different dynamics that like as we produce by ourselves on our own music when we are with other producers, other musicians. It's a different dynamics, but was very nice. I learned a lot in the process too. As you say, this all this is life learning.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But now I get in the point that I create lots of music, and I will release an album soon of it. So
Oh,
that's nice.
that's interesting. When are you planning to release it, or do you still not have?
No, the album is ready. I just I'm waiting for the label. To
Ooh,
deal with the process of the
yes.
label too. Probably 1 month to release.
Ooh, nice, nice. So you guys can check that out after and see what's up with that. It's gonna be great. All of his songs and things are also not just great as is, but they inspire you to create things yourself. So that's what's great. Like I love music that you listen to and then that you can feel that you want to create something because you listened to that. So yeah, it's like inspiring. And for those of you guys that don't know, I kind of mentioned it a little bit in some podcasts and things like that. But Gabriel is actually the one who helped me create Cookie Monster and who made Menino. So we're gonna be talking about that now, talking about the creating process and all of that stuff. But let's actually start with um how you created the track for Menino, which was Menina, right?
Hmm.
And like how long ago did you create that, and like what was the process like?
Oh, that's nice question. We'll start with my friend Bruno Guedetti. You already know Bruno from the Vata project. And when we stopped to produce for the Vata, because each one is in the part of the Brazil, different parts of Brazil, he sent me his idea that he wants to create a EP solo. So I love the way that Bruno sings too, and he sent me some bases, some beats, bass. And okay, I listen, take some ideas, creative ideas from the arrangement, and start the creative process on the top of the lyrics that he creates together with him. And well, was I love the vibe of the sound, very like chilling sound, but with bass too. And I take a lot of time to do. I think to organize everything, the voices, to create the arrangement, all the textures of each instrument too. And when I heard this, I don't remember exactly, but you sent me some music and I heard your voice too. And you both, I know it's a voice that I love. I love to hear you sing because it's true voice. You know what I mean. It's a true voice, came
Mm.
from the heart, and you sing really. Don't need to do a retouch with the robots, AI, the producers, and you singing from the heart. So when I something make me connect to both of us, of you, I connect and say, okay, that would be nice if I would do a version too. And to create a version, I reproduce the beat again. I refine the beat. I put more dynamics to fit in your voice too. So for me to be part of this level is very pretty much an honor in my life as a musician and I produce it. Yes, because I don't have a goal as a producer, to be like famous like
Yeah.
Elvis Presley. You know? For me, the most realization as a musician is to do a music that I really believe, that I really love to do each moment of this,
Mhm.
each detail of the move of the music. I know each word that you said. I know, in the process of the production, we heard the music, hundreds of times. So I have to like something that I'm doing hundreds of times because if I don't love it, I cannot do it.
Yep.
Had to
Yeah.
be something. And it's an honor because I love you guys as a singer. I love your voice. I love you as a person too. So to be part of this, to create this that connects all of these things that I love is a is an honor, big honor to me. Big honor. And connect to you and Bruno too,
Yeah,
because it was
exactly.
very funny.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Yeah, it was a really great process. I remember, I think at the time when I was writing this song, it was around 2020 because I had started dating Rich then, and I was like, what? I was like, okay, I have to like kind of like use inspiration, I guess, in the beginnings of dating and talking about some mysterious boy. So uh but yeah, even creating that like lyrically was a challenge because of all of the cadence. So in case you guys are wondering, if you guys aren't familiar with what cadence is how you sing a song. So I could sing I don't know, Queen, I want to break free. I could sing it kind of like I want to break free, or I want to break free, I want to break free. That's the cadence of the song. Because it's still matchy, but it's kind of like it varies. And the way the lyrics that I've had written had so many words, so many things that I needed to like try to find a way to make it interesting, not to have it repeat. Because I personally, I'm not a fan of things that repeat over and over and over again in style, even when it comes to rap. Kind of like da 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 da. Like it needs to have dynamic for me, or I get bored too when I'm singing it. So like all of my verses, even though they have similarity, there's always something different in a verse. And it also helps like capture the listeners as well when there's always something different. So I could go here, 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 up, down, 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 down. Here, 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 up, 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 down, down, down. Kind of stuff like that. Um so yeah, but there's a part of the song that Gabriel also loves. And I remember when we made it that we're like, okay, this is like the first draft of it. I listened to my vocals and I didn't like how I sounded. Not that what Gabriel did. I didn't like what I how I sounded. So I told Gabriel like we have to record it all over again.
I remember this.
Yeah. But luckily it's like, Gabriel knows that it's not like it's not a problem. Like that's the producer way too. It's like, okay, okay, now we're gonna
Yes.
change it, we're gonna work with something else. And I re-recorded it, and then uh we ended up having the highs be forward instead of the lows being forward, which was reversed before. The lows were forward, the highs were in the back, kind of thing. And it's because that's kind of how I sing it live too. And now it's the part that kind of like, if you guys are wondering, it's like the and that's in a cousin is house and a street play. That's how you want to do, you want to channel. This those complex, so nice, and then no spiritual, like that's a no. All of that is like, it's first, it's a lot of words, but that's like, it's like so many things. But yeah, it was really fun to do. And
Creativity. That's
yeah,
creativity.
yeah,
Amazing.
lyrically,
Amazing.
I really loved that. Like it was one of my favorite that I had like fun lyrically with that. Um, but yeah, now we're gonna talk about a little bit like Cookie Monster in regards to this because it's funny. So I don't know if I told you this story actually, but I have a friend. So last year, I think in June, um my one of my best friends, her brother was coming from like visiting from another country that he was in. I don't know if he lives in Amsterdam or something like that. Um but they're both like Latino, and we are going to go out to have a couple of drinks and stuff like that. And he's a musician. So she actually told him, "Oh, you have to meet my friend Lila. You two will get along very well." And she said, "You have to listen to this song of hers." And she sent him Cookie Monster. And usually he doesn't like rap music that much. Like he doesn't like all those, kind of, generic like trap rap music and stuff. And he said that first he saw like the cover of the photo and he was like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting photo." And it made him laugh, he said. And then he had it downloaded for when he was going to
Mhm.
go fly on the plane. So, but the thing is that he said that he was listening to it while he was waiting for the plane to come. And then he started listening to it, he's like, wow, this is so interesting. He's like, this is not like the traditional rap. He started to notice that it had musicality in it, that it actually had instruments and different sounds and interesting things and harmonies, right? All of that. And he was like, wow, this is interesting. So he really liked it. And then he was about to listen to it again, but then his flight was about to board. So he said that he went to go catch his flight, and in the plane when they took off, he had no songs downloaded except for Cookie Monster. The only song that was downloaded was Cookie Monster. So he said the whole plane ride he listened to Cookie Monster over and over,
Repeats.
repeat over and over. Then he said that every time he listened to it, he would hear different things and that he would learn
Mhm.
different things, and he started to like it more and then started to sing it kind of like Cookie Monster. And so when he arrived, he said that
So
he
good.
became he became like a big fan after that he arrived. He's like, oh my god, I love this song. But it was
So
just like
good.
so so funny. But yeah,
It was very funny to record this, right? It was
exactly.
very funny. Very funny.
The funny thing too is like, so when I record music too, sometimes I get like producing, I know how I want it to sound in my head. Like all the time I finish writing a song, I'm like, oh, I already know how I want it to sound. Like I need to have violins on this part, and then there's a bass on this part, and then there's like a ding 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 on that part, and stuff like that. And then for me though, I get stuck with my ideas, and then I'm like, okay, now how am I gonna actually make this happen? The great part about working with Gabriel is he actually makes that happen. So I remember too when we were like making the track together. And then I was like, okay, and he's like, da, na, 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 na. He's just like, he looks at me and then he's like, okay. And we started playing that, and then like at first the first like bass line was the like, dun 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 dun, which originally I actually found kind of like on a this YouTube beat, but it was too like choppy. They had like dun 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 dun, and we kind of brought it out a little bit more. So we did like dun 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 instead of it just being like choppy.
Mhm.
And then the bass and all that, and then adding like like the little like kind of like almost like flute like thing in the background. And then I looked at Gabriel and I was like, we need a duck, duck, bling.
Uh,
He was like, what? Duck, duck, bling. And then, but the funny thing is that just doing that, like you already knew like what to do.
right.
You're like duck, duck, bling. And I was like, the pling is different. The pling is like it's a little high. Okay, yes, that one, that one. And then the tuck tuck, and I was like, I think the tuck tuck needs to have a like. I was like, the cowbells, and he's like, oh yes. And then we like tuck tuck bling. So it was like such like a process. After that,
The
I
oven,
remember
the oven,
the oven.
tic
Tick
tac,
tick 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 tick
tic
tick
tac.
tick 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 tick. Yeah. Yeah, actually it's funny because a lot of people don't notice that. They don't notice it. On when I tell them, I'm like, "Oh, did you guys notice that the beginning is actually like not like a drum or anything? It's just like the oven sound timer." Tick, 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 tick,
Because
tick.
the cook is ready,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's great. I love it. And then the one part too where we did na 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 na.
Yes, yes, yes.
That one was like, it's so funny because I was just kind of like, I don't know, messing around. And then I just get like, da, na, 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 na. And then Gabriel looks and he's like, Opa.
Opa, there
What's
is.
that?
There is.
And then they're like, but like to try to, I had to like find it on the piano, and like I don't have like perfect hearing and all that stuff, but I know, how to kind of figure out the notes. It might take me a little longer, but I know how to figure them out. So I was like, okay, da na na, da na na na, da 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 na na na, and we ended up figuring out da na 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 na. Yes, okay, perfect. And it was just like it just built up and up and up. And then Gabriel, of course, he added his like signature stuff, even with the building in the background, like
Mhm. The
all
upliftings,
of that,
some
right?
pads.
Yes, it was so great. It was just such a great process. And the funny thing is, like, people have no idea how many tracks there are
Oh yeah.
in Cooking. People think like it's just like, oh,
Oh my God.
just the vocal, just the ad libs, maybe two, three instruments. We have like so much going on in that song.
God, so much. I don't know if I can open the project here because it's heavy.
Right?
It
Yes.
takes a lot, but it's so much voices to to harmonize and dynamics. Because it's that point. We want to make a good music.
Mm-hmm.
Wants to make a legible, something that people can hear and feel the elements.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter if they recognize, but they can feel, the frequencies impact, in way or other one. So it's a refined process, and it's very funny too. It's very funny to we work together. Was so good, so good, right?
It was fun
Be-
too because yeah, it's just like everything was made like in your room, you know,
Mhm.
like it's just like a little nice environment. Then we have to be like, okay, we're recording.
Mhm. Yeah, and everybody makes silence on their house.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. But you see, it's like a conversation. You already are a producer to musician, and when we sit to produce together, it's like we are talking. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this how help. Okay, like do it. Let's do it. And the song bring that experience, that synergy. I think
Mm-hmm.
is amazing. It's amazing, amazing.
Yep. Now
And
we're gonna
we build
exactly.
it.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
start building. Our music don't came ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't just play a song and say, okay, that was a music, beautiful, it's ready. But to the other people's here, that's a process.
Mm-hmm.
That into the producing process now. To just to polish the diamond to the other persons can see the shine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point.
Yes.
That's the point.
And then when you come to Canada, much more. Many more to
Yes.
come.
Yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait, Lalo, to make music together again.
Yes, it's gonna be so
But
good.
this point to build something, and that you say that, oh, sometimes it's something in my head that I cannot push out. I struggling like 2 years with a sound, just
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure it out, the identity of the music. I did
Yeah.
the Vipassana meditation, and you stay in silence for 10 days during the days on the temple. And when I came back, I came with an idea to create a music about this experience. One of the most beautiful meditation I did there was Metta Bhavana and other ones to get attention. But I think how I will express this in a music.
Mm-mm.
How? So I start to use all of these sound design concepts, but this during 2 years, though, just to sketch the concept of the music.
Mm-hmm.
I keep working till the past 3 months. I stopped to work on the music. So lots of years. I say years working on this, and it's like a 90 channels.
Yeah.
Too much. Nowadays, I when I start the music, I try to create the concept, with a little bit more instruments, just to be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Less is more. Now
Yes.
is a point for me now. But
Mm-hmm.
this experience with Meta Bhavana song was so beautiful because I discovered a lot about these sound design techniques and how I express, I take out of the mind and put out. After this, become more easy to work on this, more easy. And I will release Meta Bhavana as a single of this album now too,
Oh, nice. That's great.
free for the world.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great album. You guys are gonna love it. Like I personally have a hard time enjoying certain EDM tracks, but Gabriel always makes good music. So, just like with the tattoos as well, everything that Gabriel does, really.
Thank you. So
Oh,
gentle.
no.
I appreciate.
So, now we're going to get into the last bit, which is the sex segment.
Hmm.
And it's all basically about like your relationship and how you're becoming like from boy to man and all of these things. um Personal experiences, like even growing up in Brazil, how that affects yourself and life and all these things of like your thoughts. um let's start with, how was sex portrayed you growing up? Like, did your parents talk about sex at all, or was it something that was more quiet, hidden, nobody talked about it? What was it like?
Yes, of course. Was they always talking about was something natural, it's part of the human
Mm-hmm.
naturally. But they always say that which must be treated with respect, and consideration to avoid certain unpleasant situations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is always important to know about ourselves, to know about our intimity. Intimity is right. Yeah, great. So I believe you have the freedom to express yourself, like in sexuality, but it's not a joke, right? We see here in Brazil, it's a very pretty sexual culture too, on the TVs and everywhere since the beginning of the year. The boy and the man in 90s, for example, the boy and the man are growing with this sexual culture around everywhere. So first of all, you create a perspective. I think you create a, a picture about the sexuality in the life. But well, my parents always talk to me about it, talk to me to protect myself and to be aware about my feelings, to be aware about what I'm looking forward, and always to respect the other persons. Always respect the woman's, be gentle.
Mm-hmm.
It is teaching me by my parents since the beginning of my life as a natural process. But it's not a joke.
Yeah,
It's not a joke. It's
exactly.
natural, but it's not a joke. I
Mm-hmm.
think for me, just to this this power to recreate life,
Mm-hmm.
Is a great power, I think, a great capability that you can pass through sex. Sexuality is not just reproduction, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but you can recreate life with this. With great powers, I think we have great responsibilities too.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, so it's important to know how to express your feelings, express your sexuality in your intimacy, but respect the space of the others and be gentle is a basic thing for me.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting too, because I find that yeah, so many people have come on and said that it's not something that they have had talked about, you know? They're like, "Oh, we never talked about that. We didn't talk." So it's interesting seeing, but the interesting thing I've noticed is that it's mostly people that have backgrounds from third world countries or like Brazil or like Turkey, all that stuff that have had those talks. So like a
I
lot of
think
people
it
say,
is
yeah.
important. I think it's
Mhm.
very important because the kid is exposed to this
Mhm.
around everywhere in the culture. So you start to grow, you start to create some questions, right?
Mhm.
And if you don't have a support to answer these questions, creating these how can I say these skills of respect, be gentle with the others. If you don't have some support to deal with all this sexual information when you are a kid, you can be lost.
Mhm.
Lost in the desires, lost in the confusion, how know you are, how know what to deal. It's a now I think it's more open talking about,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I have this privilege in 19s. My parents have this talk with me too. They have this guidance during
Mhm.
my when I came a teenager times too. Always guidance. Okay, you are taking care of yourself. You know how you're feeling, who is the person that you are in a relationship. This person, is important. I think for me nowadays it was very important.
Mhm. Do you think that so like how was experiences in regards to, for example, like pornography in your life, like as a male, from a male perspective and stuff? I know that a lot of men, for example, that have struggled with that, or the view of pornography affecting their view of
Mm.
sexual relationships. Have you had any of that affect you at all, or was it something that you didn't let affect you too much?
Oh, I think when you start your sexual life,
Mhm.
these patterns affects a lot. I think,
Mhm.
because it's the way that you think ah it is. You think the
Yes.
way that it is, but no, it's something that you can develop too, your point of
Mhm.
view, and with your experience, you can grow these aspects too. It's very natural to be a man impacted by pornography nowadays, and all of these, all the years, this patriarchal society always use this, I think.
Mhm.
But I don't think it's nice to can be very, very como é que é educativo, very can bring a teaching too,
Yeah.
because you don't know the other parts, you don't know how it works, and you can see how it works, okay, as a young man, but if you take it as a pattern, is how it is, you limited your experience for something that is not true. It's a
Mhm.
movie, it's a movie, and but it's very delicate. I think very delicate because influence a lot the most of the men's around the world, I think.
Mhm.
But you can deconstruct this pattern too. No, it's not about what you see and try to reproduce on this.
Mhm.
Is to be present, to be sensitive, emotional, related with the person, that you can be very, very more deep into the experience of sexuality than the pornography can show to you.
Yeah.
It's not about like a performance.
Mhm.
Is an experience so rich, so deep to a human being, I think.
Mhm. Do you think that novellas ever have an effect with relationships and stuff? Because that's the funny thing is that I think that in Brazil, like they have that very romantic side, that passionate side, and oftentimes that is portrayed in novellas, in
Yes,
soap
yes.
opera. So do you think that there is an effect with that in regards or do you think that there or it's just like, ah no, maybe it's just coincidence or something?
I don't know if the life imitates art or art imitates the life in that point.
That's so
You know,
funny.
I don't watch too much novellas, but when I see, I say, "Oh my God, oh my God!" Just picture, these things. That's true, like that's a
Really?
good point of view. But I think for more for women, maybe because women
Probably, yeah.
watch more novellas.
It's their pornography.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Has there ever been a moment in your life where you felt like you had to be something you are not, either relationship wise or just self?
Yes, yes, of course, yes. No, but it's more. I think it's more my illusion
Mm,
about to have to fit in
mm,
something.
yeah.
The illusion that I created, and or something that I take for myself as a true.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays I just look and see. Okay, if I cannot be myself, it's better to not be here. I
Mm,
have to be in a place that I can be myself and love, full of love. Because if it's not this, maybe cannot be something good. Cannot bring a good experience. You know what I
mm-hmm.
mean? And I don't know. But we try. We always trying to fit in some way. But to change ourselves, we have to see, okay, I want it, I want to make this transformation to be something different that I am now. And
Mm-hmm.
okay, if you decide it, but to change, to just fit in the other ones, think that you have to be, you know, or what the society says that you have to fit in. We can use our intelligence to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes we don't feel good to do. And keeping doing it and keep that feeling inside, I think is not good in a long term.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It can bring diseases in a different layers of your reality.
Definitely.
So if I identify this behavior inside myself, I try to neutralize it.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it's something that can happen every time, every moment of
Mm-hmm.
everyone. It's just to be always, trying to investigate what happens inside
Mm-hmm.
ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's good advice. I think that even with people with when they struggle with like mental health and all of that stuff, um they oftentimes kind of fall into modes of like self victimizing too, instead of just doing the practice of realizing that it's something normal that happens, that it's something that always is going to happen in life, but to like catch ourselves in the act of when it happens to stop it. The same thing
Mm-hmm.
with like anxiety or depression and stuff like that. Like it's stuff that normally in life we always have ups and downs. Some days we wake up and we're depressed and stuff, but to realize that, to have that, okay, I'm feeling this, oh, let me let it pass through me, but not like affect me, is
And we get attached with the feeling, right?
yeah.
And when we get attached with the feelings, like it's real to us.
Mhm.
Everything, it's a perfect thing. Life is up and downs. Doesn't
Mhm.
mean that now we never gonna feel depression, never gonna feel anxiety.
Mhm.
But if we can look and observe ourselves and say, okay, I'm in a different state now that I don't want to be,
Mhm.
we can do something about it. If we
Mhm.
don't look, we just go through it. We just know, or we can look and say, okay, let it go, let's change it. But sometimes we cannot just look at ourselves too.
Mhm.
We are feeling this, we are feeling, get attached of this, just feeling pain or suffering different layers. You
Mhm.
cannot look at yourselves. It's like an automatic pattern that we are. I always try to broke this, like broken my rhythm, broken my habits, broken everything to always be okay. This is interesting to me. This is nice to me. I'm doing this is doing good for me,
Mhm.
because we don't know. We can enter in different paths or ways during the life,
Mhm.
but we can look
Definitely.
at ourselves in every moment. We can realize if it is a good path or not to us.
Mhm. That's good advice, I guess. uh in regards to kind of like, yeah, like a kind of like patterns and stuff in relation to this, have you had any patterns that you've noticed that have repeated itself in relationships?
Mhm.
Have like you've noticed that there's been like, you're like, I've noticed that, like, no, this has been happening with all of my relationships, and have you broken the pattern?
Yes, yes. I have something that when I'm very teenager, it happens a lot with me.
Mm.
It happens a lot, a lot. I suffered a
Mm-hmm.
lot for relationships in my teenage moments, and I put myself in places that was not good for my feelings too.
Mm-hmm.
Like so, I start to say, okay, that's not what's supposed to be. Why?
Yeah, yeah.
So I try to change the way, but most of the way that I am feeling.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, it's how to deal with this feeling. Why is the relationship for?
Mm-hmm.
You know, for me, we have to have fun, have to be good with the other person, kind is have to express your appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it happens a lot in many places of your life, right? And again, always to have to be in analysis
Exactly.
with ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes when you say, okay, I'm reproducing this, okay, try to figure it out how we prove the better to ourselves, because sometimes you forget to do it in your relationship. You just okay. I got this. I got The woman now I can do whatever. It's not it. It's not about it, right? It's like taking care of a flower. Have to put the nice sun, nice water. Cannot put too much water. Some types of flowers cannot be on the sun. You know, it's different to put a pattern to how you're gonna relate to the other person because each person is different. But I
Mm-hmm.
think changes a lot the way that I deal and I relate it with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I put myself good, trying to do my best, and not put me down. Don't let me down. Okay.
in in regards to marriage and kids. So with like I know like for example before too you're like, "Oh, I don't want to get married. I don't want to get married." But then you married also someone who didn't want to get married and you guys married each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
In regards to like kids too. Like is it something that you just felt like you've never wanted or all that stuff and like now you have like grown kids. Like how has that
Yes.
experience been like for you and stuff?
I cannot explain this level. It's like a gift of the universe, Which that's true. That's true for me. Okay. I don't say, "Oh, I want to have kids." Before I don't say that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something that I have to own my kid, my
Yeah.
baby. No, because you guys fulfill this part in my life, with your
Mm-hmm.
love, with your care. That is very true for me and very special too,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I don't have to clean, baby shit.
You got them already like grown. You're like,
The
okay,
nice
good.
parts
It's like
is more mental parts, more mental talks. Okay, how you are dealing with the process of the life. But what I mean with this is because this feeling is genuine. Is this so genuine, so natural that came? A lot of this is not something that's we always got when okay, let's schedule to have this.
yeah.
The universe gives these gifts, and have grow kids
Mm-hmm.
that call you as a dad and say they love you. That's a so special gift, in these days. So
Mm-hmm.
to be true, to have, really feel this, and that's so beautiful for me. I have fulfilled these parts. If I don't want a marriage, I get the best marriage, and I had the best children too in my life. So I just in gratitude for it, and trying to do my best to you guys too. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the point that came naturally. I think I think I think it's about to be a father wise or picture. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about to just born a child.
Mm-hmm.
It's about to care. It's about to talk clear. Care with love. I think,
Mm-hmm.
and I care about you. I think how you are. I think if you are good in life, if you have everything, this make me feel this experience of to be a father in this life. It's
Mm-hmm.
not nothing that I'm searching for, but I found this beautiful gift of the universe. A
Mm-hmm.
pleasure for me. That's true.
Oh, that's cute. Did your like so after getting married, how has your perspective of marriage changed from before not thinking about marriage and being like I don't think
Oh
that's
yes,
how is
I
that
was married to
mhm
different. I have a different. Was totally different relationship. As I said, each person is different. But when it finished, I say, okay, I don't want it anymore. And now I get this, wonderful marriage with your mom. and the perspective changed because I say, okay, it's different persons. I am different too, and
Mhm.
we always can live, can experience the love in your life. You know,
Mhm.
loving all these aspects, to be a friendship with a person, to be care, kindness, mutual appreciation, to build a life together. This is so beautiful. And I think it is. I have a great partner to build my life together and
Mhm.
to enjoy happy moments. I think these are the perspective that change everything that I wake up and look to Lou and say, okay, what you gonna do today?
Yeah.
Let's build in this. What you gonna have fun? It's nothing. Okay, it's set up. It's not set
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
No, we can discover these beautiful things every day with each one. That's the most beautiful thing that changed my perspective too.
Mhm.
Relationship is not a set up thing. It's not a thing that you can put in a pattern. You can live every day, and okay, it's a journey every moment that you are in the side of a person. Knowing more about yourself, know about the person too, through
Mhm.
love, through love, through kind, and all of this.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Mhm.
What is one
Thank you.
thing that you think that men often neglect when it comes to relationships?
One thing, just one thing.
I mean, it could be two or three. Who knows?
Yes, I think the most thing that men neglect is to express your emotions, your feelings,
Mm, mm-hmm,
create a clear communication in
mm,
your relationship. Honestly, I think to express their needs, what you expect, the men
mm-hmm,
neglect a lot this communication with the partner. They maybe probably will think, okay, that's it. I feel this and expect this, and just to
yeah.
look to it
And
to
just
figure it out, like the magic of the life,
yeah.
but the communication is the key. I think
Mm, mm-hmm,
it's the key,
yeah.
and we can learn every day with it.
Mm-hmm,
It's not things set up too. We can look like an exercise. Communicate is exercise
mm-hmm,
because the man also was in the society was created to don't express your sensibility, your emotions. Don't cry in the front of the other persons. So I think to break this wall when you are close to a person, your relationship can be very hard for a man too.
mm-hmm,
So the communication, I think, is the key. It's like an exercise to build more this health communication
mm-hmm.
with the person, and to don't get like a fail in your expectations. I think the deal with this is very sad. You
Mm-hmm.
expect create expectation about the others. If you don't ask, if you don't communicate, it
Yeah.
can be a fail. It can be a fall into something that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So just communicate.
We have the last two questions before we finished the podcast and everything. Um one of them is what do you think is overrated when it comes to sex?
Overrated.
Overrated is like a overrated is like a how am I gonna say, when people like something that people like, but that like is not really,
It's not. It is
like not really the
overrated,
best.
about say.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
you know
That's a good question. because no, you can have both bad and good things. But
Yeah.
if you know how to deal with harmony, you can have just a good experience with sexuality. You know,
That's true. Yeah.
depends with the person. But overrated, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Like,
The people overrated that sex can be the only thing can handle the relationship.
mm-hmm.
Probably, maybe is one of the things.
Yeah.
It's very important, I think. But no, to trust in other people, have a good communication is aspect that has the same importance too. And
Mm-hmm.
lots of people let it on the back, and then they see they are doing sex, but they don't know have appreciation for the other person,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe something like that. As I say, sex can be just a pleasure experience to a human being. I want to see like this. Each person can find a way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally freedom. Just you respect yourself, respect the other, or not respect yourself, or the whole different ways.
Mm-hmm.
You put your limits. You put your limits and go be happy. That's the point.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to one point.
Mm-hmm.
The overrated thing about sex is to create too much expectations about sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think is this because
Yeah.
when you create the expectation, you don't leave the moment.
Mm.
What this experience can
Yeah.
bring to
Yeah.
you,
Uh-huh.
and it's not nice.
Yeah.
You are find yourself, you are find the person knowing more, and that's beautiful. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be present to experience that, not close in your illusion of your expectation about what will gonna happen. You
Mm.
know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a great one. Do you okay, so the last thing is, do you have any advice for any listeners out there? It could be anything at all.
Wow, any device. So so don't forget to have fun and enjoy yourself and who's you choose to your company in this life. You can be very busy with all the things that you want to achieve or goals or work, the things that you want to do, the place that you want to know. But just don't forget to have fun in each step that you do in this life, breathing and be loved and loving yourself or the person that you choose to accompany,
Mm-hmm.
because that is the time art in your life, the art of the time in your life, something like that.
Yeah, that's a really good reminder. It's something simple,
Yes,
but something that we forget sometimes. That just like, just to
yes,
have
yes.
fun. Yeah.
Just to have fun, enjoy yourself,
Mm-hmm.
with joy, have joy in the life.
Mm-hmm.
It's so easy, right? So easy, so easy. Sometimes we just cannot be relaxed to enjoy this,
Mm-hmm.
but it's always that. I think that's the point. That is the real goal. If we enjoy happiness each second, each step that we do, at the end of our life, we live a hyper happy life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was not just a moment,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes we wait for a great moment to be happy. When
Mm-hmm.
we achieve or we realize a big thing in our life, okay, when I release my album, I will be happy,
Yeah. Yeah.
But all the years that I work on this,
Yeah.
I was sad it cannot be, right?
Yeah.
It cannot be. So
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a reminder that I put a note in my mind always. And I am I'm happy to share this too.
That's great. Thank you so much for all of this wonderful advice and talks. And I really had a wonderful time having you on the podcast and
Oh,
hearing all
that's
of
for
the,
me.
even learning some things that I didn't even know too. I was like, oh, interesting. Oh, okay. That's good.
That's good. It's always amazing to talk with you, Laila Lu. Thank you very much to invite me to this podcast. It was a wonderful moment. This talk here. I'm a little bit shy, most talking English. Forgot forgive my mistakes here in the word. I try to do my best to express myself,
Mm-hmm.
and it was wonderful, wonderful. Thank
You
you
did
very
a great
much.
job. Great job. So,
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
tell people where they can find you if they want to find you on like social media or stuff like that.
Great, great. So I am in different platforms too. Instagram, Gabriel Prado Arte. TikTok, the same link, Gabriel Prado Arte. YouTube too, Gabriel Prado Arte. Bandcamp and SoundCloud as Exodus. I have Exodus Music page on Instagram. Lu e Gabriel Yoga and Ganja Yoga Toronto and Brazil on Instagram as yoga teacher. So everywhere you find me, you can be sure that I am there with all of my heart to share every word and everything that make me inspire in this life. So thank you
Yes.
guys. Thank you all that support me too in my page. People that are commenting always motivation me to keep working and say good things about my works. It inspires me a lot, a lot. And thank you very much to you and you new guys that you're gonna follow this work. Every doubt, every questions, every comments and inspirations share with me. It's a big pleasure to be in that community of network, worldwide network, right?
That's amazing. I'm gonna actually put all of the links below as well on the YouTube and on Anchor, all that stuff for you guys could to check it out as well. And yes, that is all for today's podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation and hopefully you guys learned a thing or two from it as well. And I will see you guys next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.